Santham Academy. Welcome to Digital Kaksha. To get updates on new videos, click the subscribe button and the bell icon.
A very good morning to all of you. In the last class, we have discussed about the formation of the male gametophyte. Now in this class, we will be discussing about the formation of female gametophyte. You all know that the female reproductive unit of the flower is called as gynoecium. The male reproductive unit is androecium and the female reproductive unit is called as gynoecium. And the gynoecium consists of carpels and pistils as the reproductive organs. Gynoecium consists of carpels and pistils as reproductive organs. Now, these carpels and pistils, depending upon their number in the flower, they may be monocarpellary. If a single carpel is present, then that is called as monocarpellary. If two carpels are there, then that is called as bicarpellary. And if more than two carpels are there, then it is called as multicarpellary. Okay? So, a flower may be having a single carpel, two carpels or multicarpels. So, we will name it as monocarpellary, bicarpellary and multicarpellary. Now, these carpels or pistils, they may be free or they may be fused. So, if they are fused with each other, then that is called as syncarpous condition. And if they are free, means the carpels, they are separate, they are free, then that is called as apocarpous condition. So, if the carpels, they are fused, that is syncarpous, and if they are free, then that is called as apocarpous. Now, we all know that the carpel or the pistil, it is made up of three parts. The upper knob-like structure, that is called as the stigma. Then an elongated part is there which is called as the style, and below the style around basal region is there, that is called as the ovary. Now inside the ovary, the ovules are there, and inside the ovule the female gamete is being formed. Okay, so a carpel or a pistil is formed of three parts: stigma, style and ovary. Inside the ovary, ovules are there, and the ovules, they carry the female gamete. Before studying how the female gamete is being formed, we have to study the structure of the ovule. Now here I have drawn the structure of the ovule. This is the structure of an anatropous ovule. Different types of ovules are there, but maximum of the angiosperms, they have got anatropous ovule. Now this anatropous ovule, we can see the structure. The ovule, it is attached to the wall of the ovary. The ovule, it is attached to the wall of the ovary. And that wall of the ovary, which is very spongy cushion structure, that is called as the placenta. Inside the ovary, the cavity is there which is called as the ovarian cavity or locule, and the walls of the ovary, they are spongy and cushion structures. That spongy cushion structure is called as placenta. The ovule, it is attached to the placenta by a stalk-like structure called as the funicle. Here you can see this stalk-like structure. This stalk-like structure is called as funicle. By funicle, the ovule, it is attached to the wall of the ovary, that is the placenta. Now, here the main body of the ovule. This is the main body of the ovule. The main body of the ovule is connected to the placenta, and this connection, that is called as the helium. By helium, the body of the ovule, it is connected to the funicle. So here you can see this main body connected to this stalk, and this connection, this point of connection, that is called as hilum. Now you can see that the ovule, it is surrounded by two coverings. The ovule, it is surrounded by two coverings, and these coverings are called as integuments. The ovule, it is surrounded by 1 to 2 coverings, and these coverings are called as integument. Here you can say this outermost covering, that is the outer integument, while the inner covering, that is the inner integument. Now, inner to these integuments, the integuments, they have got the function of protection. Now, if we move inner to the integument, here you can see I have drawn some cells with blue colored chalk. So, this inner region having blue colored cells here, that region is called as nucellus. So, inner to the integuments, a mass of cells is there. That mass of cells is called as the nucellus. Now, this nucellus region has got very much importance. The nucellus cells, they have got the function of providing nutrition to the cells of the embryo sac. The nucellus cells, they have got the function of providing nutrition to the embryo sac which will be formed, and second thing is that one of the nucellus cells will be forming the megaspore mother cell which is going to form the megaspore, and that megaspore will form the embryo sac, and the embryo sac will be having the female gametophyte. So, the nucellus cells, they have got importance in providing nutrition and in forming the female gamete. Now, as we move inwards, now we can say in the center the embryo sac is there. Embryo sac is the region where the female gamete is present, and after fertilization the development of the zygote take place into embryo. Okay, so in the center region you can see the embryo sac is there. In this embryo sac the female gamete is there, and after fertilization the development of the zygote into embryo, it occurs inside the embryo sac. Now you can see that the integuments which are the outer coverings, the integuments, they are not in continuation. In one region the integument is absent. At the region where the integument is not present, that region is called as the micropylar region, and the region just opposite to the micropyle, that is called as the chalaza region. So, what is micropyle and chalaza region? Micropyle is the region where the integuments, they are absent, and opposite to the micropylar region, the region which is present, that is called as the chalaza region. Now, what is the utility of this micropyle? Why the integument is absent in this region? Number one reason for this is that the pollen tube carrying the male gametes will enter through this micropyle. So, the pollen tube which will be carrying the male gametes, we have studied that the regenerative cell, it will form the male gametes, and the male gametes will be moved down by the pollen tube which is being formed by the vegetative cell. So, the pollen tube carrying the male gametes, it will enter inside the embryo sac by this region, that is the micropyle. The second function of micropyle is that after fertilization, you know that the ovule gets converted into seeds. Now, when the seed germinates, the water for germination, it enters through the micropyle. So, the two functions of micropyle are, number one is the pollen tube enters inside the ovule carrying the two male gametes by the micropyle region, and the second function is that after fertilization the ovule gets converted into seed, and when the seed germinates the water enters the seed through this micropylar region. So, this was about the structure of an anatropous ovule. Anatropous ovule, it is commonly found in the angiosperms. So, once again we will see the parts. The spongy region to which the ovule is attached, that spongy ovarian wall, that is called as the placenta. Now, to the placenta, the ovule is attached by a stalk-like structure called as funicle, and the funicle is attached to the main body of the ovule at a region that is called as the hilum. The ovule, it is surrounded by two coverings which are called as integuments. The outer and inner integuments are there. The integuments, they are not continuous. In one region the integument is absent, that region is called as micropyle or micropylar end, and the other region opposite to the micropyle is called as the chalaza region. Now, inner to the integuments, the region, the central region, that is called as the nucellus. The nucellus cells, they provide nutrition, and one of the nucellus cell, they act as the megaspore mother cell. Now, in the central region you can see the embryo sac, and inside the embryo sac the female gamete is present. So, this was the structure of the anatropous ovule. Now, we will move to the next topic, that is how the formation of the megaspore or the embryo sac takes place. In case of the male gametophyte, we have studied about the process of microsporogenesis. Now, here for the formation of megaspore, the process is called as megasporogenesis. The process is called as megasporogenesis. So, first we will discuss how this megaspores are being formed by the process of megasporogenesis. I have already told you that one of the cells of the nucellus, it becomes specialized to form the megaspore mother cell. Let us see how it occurs. Now, one of the cell of the nucellus which is near to the micropylar end will act as the primary archisporial cell. Now, this primary archisporial cell is going to form the megaspore mother cell. This primary archisporial cell will divide by mitosis cell division to form two daughter cells. The two daughter cells are the primary parietal cell and the primary sporogenous cell. Now, this primary parietal cell will act as one of the cells of the nucellus. It don't have any other function, just it will add to the cells of the nucellus. Now, coming to the second cell, that is the primary sporogenous cell. This primary sporogenous cell will act as the megaspore mother cell. That means the mother of the megaspore, like the pollen mother cell was there or the microspore mother cell was there. Similarly, the megaspore mother cell is here. So, once more I will discuss this. One of the cell of the nucellus will be specialized, and that cell is called as primary archisporial cell. This primary archisporial cell will divide by mitosis cell division to form two daughter cells. The first daughter cell is primary parietal cell, which will again join the nucellus cells, and the second cell is the primary sporogenous cell, and this primary sporogenous cell will act as the megaspore mother cell. Now if we go for the ploidy, the primary archisporial cell, it will be diploid in nature. This primary parietal cell, it will also be diploid in nature. This primary sporogenous cell, it will also be diploid in nature. So this primary sporogenous cell will be acting as the megaspore mother cell. Now this megaspore mother cell will divide by meiosis cell division, and it will form 4 haploid megaspores. You remember the microspore mother cell, it also have been divided by meiosis to form 4 haploid microspores. So here also the megaspore mother cell will divide by meiosis to form 4 daughter cells, that is 4 haploid megaspores. So here the ploidy will be haploid, that is N. Now out of these 4 haploid megaspores, the 3 megaspores will degenerate and only 1 functional megaspore will be there. Before moving further, let us define the process of megasporogenesis. Megasporogenesis may be defined as the process of formation of 4 haploid megaspores from diploid megaspore mother cell via meiosis cell division. So this process is called as megasporogenesis. Megasporogenesis is the process by which the diploid megaspore mother cell will divide by meiosis cell division to form 4 haploid megaspores. Now out of the 4 haploid megaspores, the 3 megaspores they degenerate and only 1 functional megaspore will be there. When the megaspore is being formed, it will be arranged linearly. The 4 megaspores will be arranged linearly, and out of that the 3 will degenerate and only 1 functional megaspore will be present. Now this functional megaspore will form the embryo sac, and inside the embryo sac the female gamete is present. Understood? So only one functional there. All the 4 microspores, all the 4 pollen grains, they were functional, but here only 1 functional megaspore is there, and that functional megaspore will form the embryo sac. Now we will be studying the formation of embryo sac from the megaspore. We have studied that in megasporogenesis 4 megaspores are being formed, out of which 3 degenerate and only 1 functional megaspore is there, which will form the embryo sac. So how this embryo sac formation occurs, that we will see. As the formation of embryo sac occurs from a single megaspore, so that is called as monosporic development. What is monosporic development? The development of the embryo sac, it is being formed by a single megaspore, that is a single functional megaspore, and this type of development is called as monosporic development, or in short we can say that the development of embryo sac from the functional megaspore, that is called as monosporic development. Now what happens? For the formation of embryo sac, first continuously the nucleus divides, or we can say that karyokinesis occurs first continuously without the formation of cell wall or without the division of cytoplasm. So the megaspore nucleus, first the megaspore nucleus will divide by mitosis and it will become binucleate. We know that as a result of mitosis, two daughter nuclei will be formed. So first the megaspore nucleus, it will divide by mitosis, it will become binucleate. Then this binucleate will again divide by mitosis to form tetranucleate, and then after that the tetranucleate will again divide by mitosis to form the octanucleate stage. Now octanucleate means that in that megaspore how many nucleus will be there? There will be 8 nucleus. So this 8 nucleus is being formed by the continuous division of the megaspore nucleus without cytokinesis or without formation of cell wall. So initially the nuclear divisions will take place continuously, and after that these nucleus, they distribute themselves towards different locations inside the megaspore. What will happen? As the 8 nucleus which is being formed, they will migrate towards different locations in the megaspore. So the first 3 nucleus, they will move towards the chalazal end. Okay, the 3 nucleus, they will move towards the chalazal end. 2 nuclei, they remain in the center, which are called as the polar nuclei, and 3 nuclei, they will move towards the micropylar end. So in this way the distribution of the nucleus is there. The 3 nucleus, they will remain at the chalazal end. In the center 2 polar nuclei are present, and towards the micropylar end 1, 2 and 3 nuclei will be there. Now after the migration of the nucleus to these respective positions, then the formation of the cell wall will take place. Now here you can see that the cell wall has been formed. Okay, so here 3 nucleus were present, so the cell wall is formed between them, which resulted in 1, 2 and 3 cells. Now in the center, you know, 2 polar nuclei are there, and the cell wall is formed around that. Now this is called as the central cell, and the central cell contains 2 nucleus. Now we will move towards down, that is here 3 nuclei are there, and surrounding the 3 nuclei the cell wall will be formed, and it will result in formation of 3 cells. So this first cell, that is the ovum, which is in the middle, and then these 2 cells, they are called as the synergids. So towards the micropylar end 3 cells are there, 2 synergids and 1 egg or the ovum. So in this way the distribution of the nuclei and then the formation of the cell wall will take place. So we can see that at the chalazal end 1, 2 and 3 antipodals are there. In the center you can see one big central cell, and in the central cell 2 polar nuclei are there. And towards the micropylar end you can see 3 cells, out of which 2 synergids are there, and in the center 1 egg or the ovum is there. So the synergids and the ovum together they form the egg apparatus. As The synergids, they help the male gametes to reach the egg or the ovum. Collectively, they are called as the egg apparatus. So, towards the chalazal end, antipodals are there, and towards the micropylar end, the synergids are there. Here we can see how this embryo sac, it is 7-celled and 8 nucleate. You can see 3 antipodal cells at the chalazal end, then 1 central cell, then 1 ovum, and then 2 synergids. So, 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2, that is equal to 7-celled. Now, if we go for the nucleus, we can see in 3 antipodals, 3 nuclei are there. In 1 central cell, 2 polar nuclei are there. In the ovum, 1 nuclei. And in the synergids, 2 nuclei are there. So, a total of 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2, that is 8 nucleus. So, the embryo sac of angiosperms, they are 7-celled and 8 nucleate. So, I think you must have understood how it has become 7-celled and 8 nucleate. First, continuously the division of nucleus occurs, which result in formation of 8 nucleate stage, that is octanucleate stage inside the megaspore. After that, the migration of the nucleus will occur towards different locations. After this arrangement, the formation of cell wall takes place, which will result in the formation of 7 cells and 8 nucleus. Now we will move towards the functions of these cells. At the chalazal end, you can see 3 antipodals are there. These 3 antipodals have got the function of providing nutrition to the cells of the embryo sac. After fertilization, slowly the cells of the nucellus will degenerate, but afterwards the nutrition will be provided by the cells of antipodals. Now we will move towards the central cell. In the central cell, 2 polar nuclei are there, and below the central cell you can see 3 cells, that is number 1 here, the egg or the ovum is there. The function of egg or the ovum is to fuse with the male gamete. Now coming to the function of synergids. These synergids, they have got, you know, this small yellow colored structures which have drawn with yellow colored chalk, these small finger like structures which is called as the filiform apparatus. The synergids, they contain filiform apparatus, and these filiform apparatus, they guide the male gametes, or we can say they guide the pollen tube towards the egg cell or the ovum. So what are the functions of synergids? Synergids, they have got filiform apparatus, and this filiform apparatus guides the pollen tube and the male gametes towards the egg or the ovum. Then only the male gamete will reach the female gamete and fuse with the ovum to form the zygote. Okay? And here this polar nuclei, these 2 polar nuclei which are present in the central cell, they fuse with the second male gamete present in the pollen tube. As you know that 2 male gametes are there inside the pollen tube. So the first will fuse with the egg or the ovum, and the second will fuse with the polar nuclei present in the central cell. So I think you must have understood the functions of all the cells of the embryo sac. You know, this is the micropylar end, as from this region only the pollen tube will enter, and this is the chalazal end. At the chalazal end, 3 antipodals are there, got the function of nutrition. After that, one big central cell is there which has got 2 polar nuclei. Its function is that the 2 polar nuclei will fuse with the second male gamete. Now, egg or ovum is there, and this egg or ovum will fuse with the first male gamete. Here synergids are there. The synergids have got filiform apparatus which will guide the pollen tube and the male gametes towards the egg or the ovum. Okay. So, this was the structure of the embryo sac of angiosperms, which is 7-celled and 8 nucleate. So, students, in this class we have studied about the structure of the anatropous ovule, the different parts of the anatropous ovule and its functions. After that, we have discussed about the megasporogenesis, the process by which the haploid megaspores are being formed from diploid megaspore mother cell. After that, we have discussed about the formation of embryo sac, how the megaspore is converted into the embryo sac by continuous divisions and it becomes 7-celled and 8 nucleate. I think all of you must have understood the concepts. So, for the next class we will be dealing with the gamete transfer. Thank you and bye for now.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like, share and subscribe for more.